Money talks, and apparently he's not going to walk on some of the lies he told. But how far will that go? The former Georgia poll worker suing Rudy Giuliani again. Boy, he has something else in common with Donald Trump. You just can't keep your mouth shut, can you? Per CNN, former GA election workers Ruby Freeman and her daughter, Shaye, who won a nearly $150 million verdict against Rudy Giuliani for defamation on Friday. We're talking days ago. Have sued him again, asking a federal judge to permanently prohibit Rudy Giuliani from lying about them. Keep my name out of your mouth. I don't know another way to put it. Now we've got to make it, how do you say, keep my name out your mouth in legal terms? The judge is going to have to issue an order to get him to stop. Maybe he should just stop talking. I don't know. Because he's still at it. Recently filed lawsuit comes as Giuliani has continued to make false statements about their work as absentee ballot counters in the 2020 election. They were just doing a service to us all. New lawsuit says, quote, defendant Giuliani continues to spread the very same lies for which he has already been held liable. Defendant Giuliani's statements, coupled with his refusal to agree to refrain from continuing to make such statements, make clear that he intends to persist in his campaign of targeted defamation and harassment. It must stop. Directly quoted from the newly filed court case. We're not talking about the $150 million verdict. It's a new one. It's a new one. He used to be a prosecutor. He's disbarred, right? Okay. New lawsuit represents the latest round of fallout facing the former New York mayor of his legal work for Donald Trump after the 2020 election. Can we call it legal work? It comes as Giuliani continues to be buried in debt and legal proceedings. He is also headed to trial for criminal charges back in Georgia, where he's pleaded not guilty related to his 2020 election work for Trump. Again, CNN with the details. Moss and Freeman's lawyers added that even since the verdict, Giuliani has indicated he wouldn't stop repeating the false claims about them. At the end of the first day of last week's defamation trial, Giuliani told television cameras outside court that, quote, everything I said about them is true. And that he had proof that the media should, quote, stay tuned. Giuliani presented little defense in the case and didn't testify. Well, let's stop there, because didn't he acknowledge this is just about how much it was worth? And in his view, these were just two black ladies, not really worth much. Two black ladies in Georgia. Who cares? Throw them a couple coins and be done with it. Well, a Georgia jury said, no, those coins are going to add up to a slow count of $148 million because they are worth something, right? So he actually, through his lawyers, went ahead and basically stipulated, I lied. I don't think I should be blamed for everything that came their way, including the death threats, but I did lie. Now he's saying he didn't lie. Which one is he lying about? The first lie or the second lie? Moss and Freeman pointed out that Giuliani also told the media after the jury's verdict Friday he had no doubt his comments were supportable, and that he continued to repeat himself on a podcast hosted by far-right figure Steve Bannon on Saturday. Supportable is different than truthful. A lot in the MAGA world did support these ignorant lies. They did. Made these two women, their lives a living hell. Very serious. They'll never get their names back, even now. Their new lawsuit seeks a permanent injunction from the federal court in Washington to be placed on Giuliani that would prohibit him from making or publishing or causing to be made or publish further statements repeating any and all false claims that the mother and daughter during the 2020 election ballot counting engaged in election fraud, illegal activity, or misconduct of any kind. Again, that's according to the filing. Giuliani's assets, what does he have? Besides a bottle of open hair dye. Okay, it's dried up. And you can, a lot of times you got to throw away the extra portion. I know. Okay, you can't Hold on to that. We know he has a dried up open bottle of hair coloring. Where's the money? While Giuliani has repeatedly claimed he's broke, Moss and Freeman's legal team is already carving out ways to collect what they're owed. Lawyers for the women have identified substantial assets Giuliani has in New York and Florida, including bank accounts, a condo in South Florida, and a New York City co-op, according to another court filing following the jury verdict. During the last week of the trial, Giuliani acknowledged he had reached an agreement to host a show on a streaming channel affiliated with the right-wing network Newsmax, which could contribute to his income in addition to earnings from podcasting and other appearances. Moss and Freeman's team told the court Monday they're already concerned Giuliani may try to shield some of his wealth, so they want to try to claim some of his assets as soon as this week. They struggled for months to gain a full picture of Giuliani's financial state, with some of their only insight coming from a years-old tax return of Giuliani's that has not been made public. He has reportedly even refused to cooperate with subpoenas to determine his net worth. Additionally, court action on Monday notes Giuliani still hasn't paid Moss and Freeman for reimbursements they won earlier for their attorney's fees. Law firm that has represented Giuliani in other proceedings is suing him for almost $1.4 million of unpaid legal bills as well. It's a race, folks, to get the pennies he has, okay? It's a race to wherever the money is, whoever gets there first. That's what we're dealing with now. Somebody who lacks integrity. That's on top of the other debts Giuliani has disclosed publicly, such as tens of thousands of dollars in unpaid phone bills. Who was he talking to? Colluding with. Litigation costs, some of which Trump has helped him with. Make that Trump supporters, PAC, whatever, because he doesn't share with anybody. Mayor, I want the judge to issue this order. These women have been through enough. I also think it's the American way for them to get every penny. If they have to rip the toupee off, I don't know if it's a toupee. And I don't have anything against lace front. Not a thing. But they should get everything of value because he chose to give it up. But I don't know what a judge ordering him not to lie is going to do when he doesn't follow the rules. This former prosecutor doesn't follow the law, doesn't answer subpoenas, isn't truthful outside the courtroom, then inside the courtroom. What's it really going to do? What's the cost? What's the penalty here, Mayor? They're not going to put him in jail for civil things. Maybe they could.
Yeah, I think, you know what I think? Listen, this case, Rudy Giuliani, as of late, has shown a light on who he really is. And I think we should take a step back. And this is also why I tell people, be careful when you worship people and personalities. This is the mind, allegedly, that showed us how to use RICO to go after the mobs, right? This is the legal mind that supposedly created that. Showed us how you can use that in courts, which means it probably was some other attorneys in the office, but because he was the DA, he got credit for it. Because what we're seeing is there's nothing legal genius about this man. There's no way you could be sentenced or made to pay, found liable for $148 million, and you walk outside and say the same thing again on the courthouse steps in front of a camera with the microphone on. You have to be loony to do such thing. And speaking of loony, you know, Time has to feel a little crazy. They named this man of the year before. This man was man of the year. He was on the cover of Times, when in actuality, the only reason Rudy Giuliani should be named man of the year is if it's to talk about how ridiculous he is as a person. We are finding ourselves, we know he can't have a $148 million stash. He does have a $6 million apartment in New York he's trying to sell. I think this $148 million, which is $100 million more than these two women were asking, is to say to all of these people who will threaten democracy with lies, who would challenge election integrity, that you better be careful, because we will come after you. So this is more than a sentencing, a punitive to Giuliani. It was a message to all of y'all. Remember, this is the second large lawsuit settlement we've seen for people like this. Dominion won one against Fox that was 5 or 6 times larger than this $148 million. And I think what people are trying to say, courts across this country, is you will not play with our democracy, even if Donald Trump told you it was okay.
Yeah. Apparently, if you hold on long enough and you fight hard enough, you realize that somewhere along the way, the fix is not in. And a Georgia jury said, no, sir. No, sir. Okay? We're not doing this today. We're not doing this with you anymore. Okay? I just want to know when his privilege, and maybe it is loony, I also think it's very privileged. I put him on the cover too, Mayor. Man of the Year. And I put a subhead, America, look at your life. Here go your life, America. Okay? I would think about doing that. And then because they like to do it, maybe it was Newsweek, but I might add my own little interpretation. I'd play with the colors, like they like to do when black men are on the cover. I said, I'd make him whatever I want it to be. But this ain't democracy. I want a judge to order him to shut up, shut your mouth, talking about these good women who are worth something. They were worth something before this verdict. And it's disgusting that you thought you could just throw them away.